Alright, welcome back everybody. I have Frontier with me.
Howdy.
And even though I know a lot of people are excited about the Overlord collab, that collab, as of this recording, is still not out. We'll be talking about that next week. I know a lot of people are excited for it, but we're not going to talk about it this week. We're going to talk about the next global patch, which is most likely going to be the Renata Licorice patch, and I think a lot of people are looking forward to that one. So without further ado, let's just get right into it, and we're going to start with the one I'm sure everyone is more excited for, and that is definitely Renata. Do you know anything about Renata, Frontier?
She is Big Sister Dragon Girl.
Yes, she's the first playable dragon, or rather, she's the first playable dragon that you actually want in Dragon class, because I don't think I've ever seen a dragon juggler outside of just someone joking around. The basic thing about Renata is that she is kind of a unique character. She is a DPS for the Reincarnation faction, or the Tensei faction rather. She is a reactive character that punishes people for attacking you. So basically she has a talent that's sort of similar to Betty in the sense that if someone near her is attacked, she will do something to the enemy that did that attack. So she So she puts a debuff on them that basically says they take a bunch of extra damage from Renata. They can't be guarded. Then they get disabled. Their move again and passives are disabled, I believe. So the most unique thing about Renata, I'd say, is that she's the first character I think that disables being guarded rather than disable guarding, which is kind of interesting. But the problem I have with her is just that a reactive character seems to be kind of an issue these days because the meta is becoming very fast-paced. So a character that reacts to your opponent engaging you might not be the best. But I think she looks like she will be quite good for a tank versus tank match, where you're just standing, tanks are just you're trying to outlast each other, but Renata can disrupt your opponent's DPS. Like if they try to attack you, you can punish them back because Renata is going to Pierce Guard, kill, and almost certainly kill that DPS because she gets a lot of damage when she puts that debuff on them.
Huh.
Although, of course, like many other debuff-based characters, Renata is shut down by Gospel, and Gospel is becoming a little bit more common these days. You have Deedlit running around everywhere. Rachel's still a somewhat common character to see in boxes, and of course Liana is almost always going to be around. Even though she's a dragon, her equipment is basically the flyer equipment. She can wear leather armor, and she can wear axes, so you can put Last Rites on her, you can put Ragnarok on her. Aside from that, I don't think she has anything particularly interesting. I mean, she can get a revive. She can attack first with one of her attacks. But aside from that, I think she is a pretty standard DPS for the most part. Mostly, I think it's her Dragon Seal mechanic that is the most unique thing. So do you have any impressions on this character, Frontier?
Not really.
Yeah, she doesn't make a very strong first impression. Over the next couple of months, we're going to get a lot of reincarnation characters, and it's definitely the faction I think they're trying to build up as the shiny new faction.
Yeah.
In the future, if reincarnation boxes become a thing, maybe Renata will find more of a place. But for now, she is definitely a niche pick. She's not bad or anything, but you're not going to see her very often. Kind of like Shilinka from this last month. Shilinka is good, but you're not going to see her super often.
Yeah.
People will be busy building other characters that are a little bit more universal usage. This character also has a very troublesome bond requirement. So she uses Licorice, which isn't a problem because if you're going to be pulling on this banner, you're probably going to get Licorice as well.
Yeah, definitely.
But the attack bond requires Akaya, or rather Akka, which is definitely really big problem because
that's a really big problem because not a lot of people have her.
Very very few people pull for her. I don't have Akka either. Yeah, Akka was a character I think a lot of people skipped, so that is going to be. So if you want Renata,
I mean, if you want to roll for her, maybe when we're ever going to get the 1 year or 1.5 year grab bag thing, she's one of the people you can get.
I don't remember if Akka was one of the characters in one of those grab bags.
She was. It was her, Brenda, or Betty. I knew because that's what I was going for.
Okay. Yeah, which isn't our problem for people who were looking to get Renata, but if you don't already have Akka, you're gonna have a lot of trouble because that's her attack bond. Of course, as a DPS, the attack bond is way more important than defense bond.
Yeah, I mean, attackers are.
And aside from that, if you are a newer player and you're looking for characters to fill out your PvE ranks, you probably don't want Renata either. Her Dark faction basically places her into Leviar or Fenrir. Leviar for Eternal Temple, she's a melee character. She's not really going to be very useful on Leviar. And on Fenrir, most people go with an AoE strat, so she's not going to be that useful there either. She's a single target character. Aside from that, I can't really think of much to say about Renata.
Did we talk about her 3C?
Yeah, I mentioned it a little bit. Her 3C will allow her can let her attack first and can also let her revive. So, which is pretty cool. But as like with everything else she does, you need to set up first, either through her talent reacting, or you bring her active Dragon Seal ability. And the Dragon Seal ability, the Dragon Seal debuff is dispellable, so that is a problem. So if you want to use Renata, you definitely want to ban like Dispellers, you want to ban Gospels.
Yeah.
She's fine. She's a DPS. She will, if you understand her kit, you probably don't have to worry about her too much in Apex, but you do need to understand how she works, so you can pick the right character to counterplay her.
Okay.
And finally, like as for attacking tanks, like being a dragon actually can be a little bit of a problem because almost every Landius is wearing Dragon Slayer Graham, which will increase their damage against the Dragon Renata.
Yep, that's what I do.
Yeah, I mean you could run her as Lancer if you want, but I don't think that's a good idea. Her Lancer has a little bit more skill, but less attack. I don't think that's ideal.
Okay, noted.
Okay. Any final thoughts on Renata?
Dragon.
Yes, she is a very cute dragon girl, and if that's your thing, I ain't judging. Okay, but I might judge you about if you are into this next character, Licorice. So okay, okay, let's just get us out of the way. FBI, open up. Okay, we have that out of the way. All right, so
lollies, run.
Okay, so we got Licorice, and she is definitely the prize pull of this banner. I think she's a character I think a lot of people are looking forward to because. Yep. This is Licorice. When you look at her kit, like a lot of the abilities look very simple, but sometimes the simple effects are the best ones. So Licorice is a hybrid character. She can heal, she can cleanse, she can debuff, she can do damage, and she can create huge like areas of terrain on the map. So she is a very, very versatile character. In addition, she's the second Dark faction buffer, which is really huge because the Dark faction is a very powerful faction. I mean, think about all the crazy characters there are in Dark faction. You got Listel, you got Zerida. Dark faction crosses over very well with the Mythical faction, which is another faction that is really up and coming. The Mythical faction is going to get a lot of really powerful characters over the next couple months, and the Dark faction just crosses over very well with them. Gizarov himself is part of the Dark faction. Bozel is part of the Mythical faction. So when you're building a box, the Dark and the Mythical factions go together very well, and Licorice also fits in there just fine. So Licorice's thing is that she is yet another terrain character. So we haven't gotten too many of those yet, but this is one of the first like truly insane terrain characters because every time
I saw it was like definitely
every time she casts an AoE spell, every single tile that AoE hits will become the terrain that Licorice puts down.
Whoa.
So she has she has a lot of like standard AoEs like she has Retribution, which is an okay AoE, but she has Dark Dragon Breath, which of course is one of those huge like line AoEs. So that'll create.
Oh yeah.
She has Mass Heal. You can Mass Heal, and that also counts.
Mass Protect too.
Yeah, Mass Protect, Mass Resist. Her 3-cost skill is a self-targeting 5-space span AoE, so that's plenty of space. That's plenty of terrain. So basically her terrain...
Wow.
Her terrain has 2 modes. So basically, before she transforms, her AoEs, or she is more of a healing character. Her base effects, she has healing effects in her talent at base. And the terrain she puts down will heal people and cleanse them of debuffs, so which is really great already, because that means, it's just nice to have an off healer and a faction buffer in one. But once she transforms... all that healing terrain becomes damage terrain that also debuffs the enemy. So it just becomes like this huge zone control thing in PvP. Yeah, if you've seen some of the Chinese games in like season 4 or season 5, you'll see like a lot of terrain flying around, and Licorice is definitely one of the main characters that is doing that. And
okay,
she herself, of course, is very versatile. You know, she can heal, she can fight. You know, she's just got a lot. She's just got a lot she can do. And of course, as mentioned, she's the dark faction buffer, which is a very powerful faction. She can also get she's also part of the princess faction, which is, you know, Luna's in plenty of boxes, and Shelfenil isn't as common, but plenty of boxes.
Yeah.
She's in a Tensei faction, which, you know, like, Ares can buffer, but, you know, nobody ever brings a buff on Ares. And unlike Renata, her bonds are probably characters you already have, Ares and Bozo. You know, if you're playing PvP, you probably got Ares. And if you are a day one player, you definitely have Bozo.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't have much else to say right now. Do you have anything you want to add there?
She's pretty impressive.
Yeah, she's the character a lot of people have been looking forward to. She's just...
Oh, she's got vampire bats, skills on archer.
Well, I mean, she has sorceresses, which, you know, are universally, like, a really good mage troop. She also has crystal warlocks, which are decently tanky. She also has the tidal elves, which are actually really good if you manage to get a water nap or something. I mean, she is a flying character. Like, she's not a flying type, but she does have flying movement, I believe, on both her classes, or are floating characters, I think. So you don't need to worry about like any sort of terrain obstruction when you're using like tidal elf or anything like that.
Okay.
Let me think. What else is there? PvE. If you're a newer player and you think you want Licorice, I don't think she's a bad character to get either, because faction buffer always useful. She is dark faction, so Leviar. You know, Dark and Princess faction are both Leviar, and Leviar, you know, Leviar is very mage friendly. You know, I think she'll be decently useful there. In Ancient Beckoning, she is a bonus character in Nidhogg and Fenrir. Nidhogg, I think she would be okay, and in Fenrir she'd be okay as well. I don't think she wouldn't be really a top tier character in either one, but you know, if you're newer to the game and you're looking for characters, I don't think she's a bad choice at all. And her faction buff is actually quite powerful as well. It says it gives 3% bonus damage for each turn of cooldown that skill has, and it goes up to 20%, which is higher than most faction buffs. Most faction buffs go up to 15% for their bonus damage. So, I mean, although, like, obviously, like, in order for that to happen, it would be, like, a 7 cooldown skill, which, like, mostly does not exist. But yeah, just a very versatile character, which I think a lot of people will be pulling for. I think I might be skipping this banner because I'm not a huge Dark faction player, but she is a big meta shifter, I think. Do you think she'll be interested in pulling for Licorice?
If I had the funds, I would do it, but I'm on a strict diet of tickets right now.
Okay, what are you saving for?
Because the pity pool at 100, I'm guessing my luck is going to be really bad, so I have 100 for every banner up until, I have no idea. Until Brenda. Wait, no, Brenda's the next one, so whatever else is next after Brenda. But I save my stuff, and I use mathematical calculations to figure out when to pull. I may do at least 10 just in, you know, the hope.
Oh yeah, sure. YOLO pull.
Yeah,
that's the nice thing about this game is, like, because the pity rate carries between banners, you can just YOLO pull and it won't feel as bad as it is in some other games.
That's why I say it's really good.
Yeah, but for those, even though neither one of us is probably going to go hard on this banner, we're wishing best of luck to all of you to get all the Licorices and maybe not so many Renatas. Yep. Alright, any final thoughts on Licorice here?
No, she's just a really cool character, and if I magically get her somehow, then nice.
Yeah, pretty good character. Alright, next we have the 3-cost skills that are expected to be dropping with this patch, and this time the 3-cost skills are all quite good. The 3-cost skills we're getting this time are Rainforce, Sakura, and Imelda. Like I said, all 3 of these are quite good. Let's start with Rainforce. Rainforce's 3-cost skill is, what else? Another AoE for this AoE character. So he is he gets a basically a line AoE that's similar to like a Dragon Breath style AoE. So it's a 4x3 AoE, I believe, and it does pretty minor damage. It does 0.2 times damage to all enemies, and then he puts like a fixed damage debuff on all the targets hit. And this fixed damage debuff only lasts 2 turns, and it can actually be stacked. So, and the other thing is like with Rainforce's Star Stab attack, this ability also teleports Rainforce to the furthest point in the skill's range. So the gimmick of this skill is that the more units you hit with it, the more effects it has. So if you hit 2 units, if you hit 2 or more units, first off, it'll teleport units around, so kind of similar to Star Stab. But since it's a larger area, you have more places to displace enemies, so I think it can wreak more havoc than Star Stab can. Furthermore, if you hit 3 or more enemies, this skill's cooldown, which is normally 5, it's automatically reduced to 0. And every enemy hit will get an effect, and for both 2 and 3 enemies hit, you'll get an additional stack of Scald on them, which is this.
Dang.
So basically, so to put it simply, if you hit 3 enemies, you will get 3 stacks of Scald on every single one of them. You will displace all of them, you will teleport to the very end. And I imagine this is the way it's supposed to be used, but if you hit lots of enemies, I imagine you are trying to get the final stacks on Rainforce so that you can get his acting to activate. So if that happens, what that means is that you can you do this 3-cost skill, you teleport through them, you hit a bunch of enemies, you get them all 3 stacks of Scald, and then because of the skill's special effect on hitting 3 enemies, it will automatically reduce to 0 cooldown. And if you have enough stacks, Rainforce gets to act again, so then you just stab back through the opposite direction, back to where your tank is, and then you put
scary. Why are you making me think of this?
Yes, and you put another 3 stacks of Scald on your opponents, and
I don't like this.
Rainforce is back in safety, and your opponent has 6 stacks of Scald on them.
And probably a heck of a lot of damage too.
Yeah, it's 0.2 is not the largest multiplier, but Rainforce, he has decent attack. 0.2, if you combine with our AoEs, this is definitely very scary. It's this is a very solid 3-cost skill.
Yeah, it's actually definitely ruining any Lathrites or any sorcerers and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, like the reflexive ban for AoE boxes is Juggler, so you want to get his Great Dragon Barrier won't be around to protect you. Most people don't have clothes in their box anymore. Imelda is gonna be coming back with this patch though, so Imelda does give fixed damage immunity, so maybe Imelda can save you, but yeah, it's just, I mean, even putting aside all that, even if your opponent is completely immune to fixed damage somehow, just the fact that you're putting 6 separate debuffs on them, like, combining that with a bunch of other debuff characters, like, this is really scary.
Yeah. Like,
there's no way, like, even if your opponent has Liana, and, like, and some other Dispeller, it's gonna be very hard for them to, like, get all of that off. You combine this with, like, Bozel, or like or Ren, in the ELS faction along with Rainforce, you could stack all kinds of debuffs on them, and it's gonna create chaos in your opponent's team.
Yep.
All right. You have any experience with Rainforce?
I pulled him. That's it.
Yeah, I have Rainforce in my barracks. I think he's still level 1.
I think he is too.
Yeah. Rainforce is, but Rainforce has pretty good factions. He has the Legend faction, which of course,
definitely
always popular. Mythical faction, like I said, Mythical faction is up and coming, so be prepared to face Rainforce. It is very terrifying 3-cost skill combined with
the shenanigans. They never stop.
Yeah. Any final thoughts there?
Well, he's already a cool unit, so this is gonna make him cooler.
Yeah, he's definitely he was always kind of a dark horse pick for some people. He's already pretty good, but this 3-cost skill I think will help him a lot. All right, so next let's talk about Sakura. Sakura was already a pretty popular character. She fell off in usage a little bit. Her 3-cost skill doesn't help her most common problem, which is the fact that she has low movement. But it does help her be a little bit more. How do I say this? She's useful more than one turn now, because before, one of the things that people use Sakura for is like mostly she was using AoE boxes to fire off her Hyaka Hyoron to do heal reverse on the opponent's team, and then after that she just sort of stands around.
Yeah.
Maybe kill off some stragglers if you can, but like she didn't have a lot she could do after she did the first AoE, which is fine. Her Hyaka Hyoron is a very powerful AoE, but her 3-cost skill, gives her something else to do. So she is given. So basically, to put it simply, Oka Tensho it's sword dance. Basically, it's sword dance, but it has a base range of 2 rings. So at its base range, it's already the size of a Balance Blade sword dance. So if you run Balance Blade on Sakura, that means this is a 3-ring sword dance, which is really scary.
Nice.
In addition, this inflicts the bleed effect from her Oka Hoshin AoE that does like fixed damage when they end their turn, and this also gives her free stacks of her talent, which is just it's a nice bonus. Her stacks weren't super important, but like what this means is that you could probably open with this skill and get 2 stacks, which raises her stats, and then you can follow up with Hyaka Hyoron the next turn if your opponent tries to cleanse away the heal blocks. So basically this gives Sakura 2 different ways of heal blocking, essentially. This just increases her value in an AoE team, because heal block is very important to AoE teams.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Sakura was already a very scary character in an AoE box, but yeah, this will, again, just like Rainforce, this is a pretty good 3-cost. It'll help her a lot. Any thoughts?
No, I might decide to pick her back up and fix her.
Yeah, I was sharding Sakura a little bit a while back, but then I got busy sharding way too many other characters. But I'm actually getting close to finishing up some of them, so I might get back to Sakura. I think Sakura will definitely be a star character in season 4 for a little bit, for AoE boxes at least, because we're not going to get Rin until like the very tail end of the S4 playoffs, I think. So until Rin comes along, I think Sakura can sort of fill that role of like being able to toss around a lot of field blocks and stuff. Right, if we have nothing else to say, like, let's go on to the SR 3-cost skill, which is Imelda. Imelda's 3-cost skill is really, really good. I mean, this 3-cost skill was good enough to bring her back into quite a decent amount of usage on the Chinese server, at least. So, Imelda's 3-cost skill, it's it's pretty funny. So basically, the in-universe idea is that she's whipping your ally, and then making them like, she whips them and dispels all debuffs. She gives them move +2, and then gives them like a ton of attack buffs all at the same time. So it's a unique buff that increases damage, fixed damage, critical hit rate, critical damage, intelligence, attack, and skill are all increased by 10% for 2 turns. The movement +2 is a separate buff that's just a standard move +2, so it cannot stack with breeze and stuff, unfortunately. But even though 10% to all that, you might say like 10%, that doesn't sound, that sounds decent, but that doesn't sound amazing. But remember, Imelda's talent gives you 20% damage when you enter battle. So what this means is that, once Imelda whips one of your, so Imelda is very much a single target box character. You use her to whip one of your characters, they get 10% to a bunch of stats, and then they get 20% from Imelda's talent. And of course, they also get fixed damage immunity if she's wearing her unique equipment, which there is no reason she should not be wearing her unique equipment.
Yeah, that's true.
So like, if you're using Imelda without her unique helmet, it's like, stop that. But yeah, like if they're immune to fixed damage, that that helps you with all kinds of things. It saves you from Freya for the few times you might run into her. It saves you from mirror armor from Landius. Yeah, I mean, this is a very scary 3-cost skill, actually, when you combine it with the right characters. And, there's also some other things that you, a lot of people are excited to use Imelda's 3-cost skill with some more off-meta characters, because one unique thing it does is that it does damage to your own ally. So...
Yeah, I want to see Imelda killing an ally now by using this 0.1 person.
That would be pretty funny if anybody ever captures that on a replay, please send that to, or please post that on your internet. It's great. But anyway, one off-meta thing that people have been discussing is you can use her 3-cost skill with Parn, Parn wants to take damage to activate his talent. Pyrotes wants to take damage to activate her talent. There's all there are some characters who have things that activate when they take damage, and Imelda activates those things, and that that offers something very unique that I don't think any other character has offered before. You being able to damage your own party member. And and in case it's a character that like you want to have last rites, obviously Imelda just bring regrowth on her, and she'll heal them right back up after using this, so it's not a problem. Yeah, it's just it's a very simple 3-cost skill, but it's quite good, and it works with teddy bear. So we now just teddy bears. I personally do not play a single target block for the most part, at least for the moment. So I probably will not be using Imelda, but do you have any thoughts, Frontier?
No, I've been slowly raising her up for a support class, and now just, better for it.
Yeah, one thing about Imelda is that, a lot of the attack boosting healers are SSR. You have like Tiaris, who is like SSR. Liana Act Again to let you attack twice in a row. It's SSR. Iris, of course, is SR, but like Imelda is a pretty good character to raise for people on a budget, because you can get her 6 stars for not for free, but like you'll get her 6 stars in relatively soon, as long as you pull a lot. So Imelda is a good choice if you don't have a very developed Apex box yet. Definitely consider investing into Imelda. Yeah, I don't think I have much else to say here. It's just a really good 3-cost skill that's gonna bring Imelda back into the game. Better watch out.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
No, just more. All these things are really making these characters useful.
Making tanks quivering fear here, which is bad news for me because I rely on my tanks quite a bit most of the time. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's finish this up with the
equipment.
Yeah, the 2 new pieces of equipment, which is for Sigma and Alfred. And Sigma got the Scouter from Dragon Ball Z. It's
over 9,000. Not copyrighted.
All right, so Sigma gets the Sigma's helm at the end of his turn. It has a 25% chance of giving him attack plus 20%, and this actually lasts 4 turns. So it's very interesting because essentially it gives him the attack portion of a faction buff at the end of his turn at a 25% chance, and because it's 4 turns and it's a 25% chance, obviously on average you'll have it every turn, but obviously there's going to be like outlier situations where you will not get it for 8 turns in a row and you'll be very angry. But I am not a fan of this helm personally. I think it is decent, but I have a couple thoughts on it. First off, even though it's clearly designed for Sigma, because he cycles turns very often, he has a turn that makes him act again. He takes extra turns using his talent, so he can cycle through a faction buff very quickly. So, but my problem with that is that Sigma himself is a faction buffer, so like usually that wouldn't be an issue. Like, if you're having trouble with his attack buff falling out, just bring his faction buff. And like the thing is like the reason most people put Sigma in their box in the first place is to have another legend buff. So to me it's really weird that they added this helm, which makes it so that he doesn't have to bring his buff, but it's like the whole reason he's using a bunch of boxes is so you can buff.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
The other thing is that for his infantry class, which is, I think a lot of people, you'll see kind of 50-50 on whether Sigma is run as infantry or archer. His infantry class is definitely a stronger class in terms of attack, but because Landius is such a common tank, a lot of people still prefer to go with archer. But if he's run as infantry, he probably doesn't want to tell him he wants Fury of Tyr, which is just a such an OP helm all around. And even on his archer class, you have a lot of really good choices like King's Crown, which is a good support option. So overall, this helm, it's not bad or anything. I think it's okay. It's definitely a good choice if you have been unlucky with your helm drops and you got nothing else to equip. It's definitely a good choice, I think. But yeah, I think they could have done better than this. Sigma deserves something better than this, I think.
Okay. Let's go to the other person, which is Alfred.
Okay, so we have Alfred. So Alfred's equipment is kind of interesting in that it's the first accessory we've gotten that gives SSR quality of attack and skill as the flat stats, and then the accessory itself also gives attack. I think this is kind of odd because like Alfred doesn't really use skill, but I mean I guess it's still nice to have a little bit of extra crit rate. But with that out of the way, let's talk about the actual effect. So this accessory makes it so that whenever Alfred is entering battle with someone, if your opponent is not an aquatic unit, then he will inflict a in-water debuff, which lasts 1 turn. And then if Alfred himself is at 100% HP, he will gain the water buff, which lasts 1 turn. And I believe this is floor battle, so which is very useful. You know. And the gaining water for himself has a 2-turn cooldown, which kind of sucks, but yeah, I think this is okay. Alfred is a very weird aquatic unit in that he does not have the standard water control ability that gives him water. He has a beach party, which is basically an AoE water control for aquatic units in your team. But that's on a very, very long cooldown, so this can come in handy on the turns where you don't want to use Beach Party or Beach Party is like on cooldown or something, so this can be useful there. The thing is like the most useful thing you would have been able to do with this is like because Alfred's talent is kind of similar to Lusty's talent, except it's for water. What this could have been good for is if you were attacking someone and you can run away afterwards because now you're in water, you can run away a bunch of squares using Alfred's talent. But the problem with that is that Alfred himself does not have any move again effects. The only way he can get move again in a very like accessible way is to get Zerda's meteor buff. Yeah, that's pretty much the only way you can get it. You can equip Spirit Boots on Alfred, but I would not advise that. Well, actually, I would probably not advise using Alfred in the first place. But if you are using Alfred already, like I probably would not use Spirit Boots on him and just make his attack unit. Also, if he's using Spirit Boots, he's also not using this accessory, so, you know, that is also a thing. Yeah, but aside from that, the water debuff is kind of cool. It lowers your opponent's movement. But, like I said, he can't run away, so if he can't run away, then what was the point of lowering your opponent's movement? You know, on paper, this is This is a pretty good accessory, I think, but all the problems really come down to Alfred himself and his kit being just such a weird kit. He really needs I really feel like he needs his second class line, and he really needs some kind of like unique skill to make him more worth using. Because at the moment, Alfred is definitely he's a very niche pick, and even for niche boxes, like he's really not that great. He's really a character you only use because just because you can. You have any thoughts on Alfred and this equipment?
No, accessory slots in special equipment are kind of weird in general, just because there's a lot of other good accessory slots that you can use.
Well, for physical DPS at least, I don't think it's too big a deal because like a lot of times it's like a lot of physical DPS end up wearing like Slayer's Emblem or Judge Talisman. So it's not a huge deal. This gives the same amount of attack as those, and it even gives skill. So that's not too bad.
Yeah. Okay.
And let me think. And I think as far as like game content goes, or like new characters and stuff goes, that's pretty much all we have for the next patch. We are getting a new Wikigrisser 4-time rift. That should be coming. And we're getting the love confession from Akaya, I guess, if that's your thing. Akaya is actually going to be on a banner the week after the Licorice Renata banner, theoretically. There's going to be a Akaya/Emilia banner, so
yeah.
If you want to get Akaya for like Renata's Bond, you know, we are getting a Akaya banner right after, but it's not a Destiny banner, so that can be a problem. We are getting an Akaya Destiny, I believe, but that is really, really far down the line.
Yep.
Yeah, are you looking forward to anything here?
No. Not really, nothing this time around.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saving up for the Cold Steel collab myself, so even though I am tempted to pull for Licorice because she's actually a very important character, not just for like PvP purposes, but like if you want to pull for reincarnation characters in the future, Licorice is actually going to be a bond character for a great deal of them. So
Okay.
So Licorice is quite important to get if you want to get a lot of the reincarnation characters in the future, and there isn't going to be a Licorice Destiny banner. There's none in sight so far. I know that. So that is a problem. So I think a lot of players, even non-PvP players, need to consider whether or not they want to get Licorice.
Okay.
Okay, but I think aside from that, that's pretty much all we have for you today. You got any final thoughts, Frontier?
No. Dragons.
All right. So we're looking forward to our Dragon Girl and our not so Dragon Girl. Next time we are going to be talking about the Overlord collab, which I'm sure a lot of you are looking forward to. But until then, this is Wikigrisser. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.